Can you go over what a significant difference minus 130 makes to minus 120 for your ROI on the season?
So yeah, that's like you can just like imagine like you bet 1 unit to win 1 unit, and you bet 1.2 units, and you bet 1.3 units. And like if you lose 100 bets on the season, that's 10 units difference. Like that's like huge. Like when you like bet 200, like let's say you bet 300 bets in a season, and you profit like 15 or 20 units. That's a good season. Imagine if you have like instead of 15 units, you have 5 units profit. That's like 3 times less profit. Like that's huge. You need to get good lines. You need to shop for the lines. You need to have as much outs as possible. And like the way, like I know the way Jacob you are betting, and so many other people that are betting that are not that are sports bettors, that are not like I am not a sports bettor. I am pro NBA pro bet specialist. That's the thing I'm doing. You guys, you and like everyone on the Hammer betting, probably like Rob and everyone, like every sharp better is like sports better. So you open like bet stamps and you just shop for the lines. You see like the consensus on like let's say Gary Harris is 8.5, and you get 9 like minus 110 and under, and you have like on one bookie like let's say like BetMGM has 9.5 minus 125. Yeah, you don't need any basketball, no, any NBA knowledge to know that that's great spot and that's long term profitable. And I think like shop for the lines. If you see consensus on most sharp bookies like DraftKings and FanDuel, but especially FanDuel, and you can find a huge difference on some local bookie or some small bookie, like just bet it. Like you don't need to think about it a lot. Like don't bet the opening lines because they are not as sharp. But if you are like from now on and later into the day, if you find like a huge difference on, when comparing to the FanDuel and Caesars, just bet it. Like that's long term profitable, and you should focus on it. Especially if you live in a state that has so many like if you can have like 5 plus out options bookies, you should probably like spend more time doing the line shopping and focusing on that. And that, yeah, that's long term profit.
It's pretty crazy. The perception is perception of sports betting to like an outsider is if you know about a lot about sports, you can win money betting on sports. And there's definitely like a few people here and there who definitely can do that. I'd say like you're one, you read the matchups and do very well at that. I myself I could do that a little bit with basketball, but for the most part for basketball and for other sports, especially NFL as well, I can make some prices and do well. But a lot of my betting comes from, just picking off lines like that. You're more prone to getting limited at some of these books because you're constantly getting really good CLV and picking off bad lines. But yeah, I mean, you don't need to know anything about a sport to make money betting on it. The notion that sports betting is knowing the most about sports is kind of wrong a lot of the time. It's more so understanding it as a market. Sports betting is a market. It's like playing the stock markets. So
Yeah.
just looking at numbers, you can make good bets without even knowing a single player or anything about the sport. So,
And also, like, if you are like great, you have great sport knowledge, of course, you can exploit it like a lot,
for
but
sure.
only in that specific sport. Like, you can be like professional, huge knowledge in like 5 sports, and if you have like like huge knowledge in one sport, your volume will be not enough for you to like win huge. Like, especially if it's like the pro betting market, like your knowledge is great. Like, so you will have like 500 bets in a season, like the limit will come, and also the limits are not huge. Like you can bet like $500 on every pro bet like that, and that's the problem. Like, and when you are shopping for the lines, you can get like 50 bets a day if you work enough, and like it's amazing. Oh yeah, if you're betting like this, edges are thinner, of course. Like you are just shopping for the volume. So if you get like 2 to 3% ROI long term, that's great. But you have 5 times more volume, and so like 2.5% ROI is better than like 5 or 6% ROI on like 5 times lower volume. Like that's
Yep.
simple math, allowing probabilities. So like just I had so many questions asked in my DMs, like you won't believe it. I'm not saying anything against these people. Like you need to like have deeper understanding of some things that like for example, someone will say like I see for example like Darius Garland is 22 and a half on FanDuel and Caesars, and I have it 20 and a half on my bookie. Is that a good bet? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's amazing bet.
Yes.
You should bet it like instantly. And
Depending on the vig, but yeah.
you will be surprised. Like I get it like 5 to 6 messages a day on questions like that. Or someone is ruled out. Like I don't know, like Paul George is ruled out, and people will like, I still have the same lines on everyone on that game. My bookies didn't close anything, so they are having like I don't know, like Eric Gordon at 10.5 and Kawhi Leonard at 25.5. It should be like 29.5. Eric Gordon should be like 4 to 5 points higher, and they are asking like, who should I bet? Like you can literally bet everyone and be profitable long term. Like that's so like easy.
Yeah, yeah,
Easy.
I agree 100%. If you want to do like these line comparison things, if you're doing like straight bets, Pinnacle is likely the sharpest. Also, Circa, also to maybe a little bit of a lesser degree, BetCris. It's a sports book that take the biggest limits, and therefore, sports bettors, the very, very good professional sports bettors, can shape those lines, which is why they're sharper compared to a recreational book like some of the ones we use, like DraftKings, BetMGM, things like that. So for straight plays, Pinnacle, I'd say, is the best. For player props, as Showtime asks here, it's FanDuel. FanDuel
Yeah.
is likely the sharpest. If you can find a line off of FanDuel with the same amount of vig, I would say obviously the higher you go, like you get into the 20s for points, it's very different to like the 6 to 7.5. Like that's very different. But 10 cents, if you can get like usually it costs about 10 cents to move off of a point to go up from like 21 to 22. So if it's like same vig,
I think
different,
it's more.
you think it's more?
It's like 20 cents.
20 cents to move up
Yeah.
from like
Yeah.
21, 22.
I'll just say something like yesterday. Like I shared the Trey Young in my group. Like they just opened Trey Young, and I shared it. I waited for like 15 minutes to get some liquidity there, so that it doesn't move. Like stayed away. It
Right.
Trey Young open at 27.5 minus 150, 115. I shared in my private group, and I watched the line. 45 seconds. 45 seconds later, line went from minus 115 to minus 122, but 28. They moved entire point. So went from 27.5 minus 150 to 28.5 minus 122. And that's never happening on DraftKings and or DraftKings or like the BetMGM even slower. So like FanDuel is sharp. Like if they get any money of any winning better, it's moving like straight away. Like and they will move like entire point and even more juice. Like from 27.5 minus 150 to 28.5 minus 122 in 40 seconds. Like that's just unbelievable, and that shows that they are sharp. Like
Yeah.
they
It's
react to everything. Like
the best sports books are playing defense on sharp bettors. They are playing defense. So the notion that sports books will always know more than players is BS. Bettors, the best ones, know more than the sports books. The sports books understand that, and the lines are shaped based on the sharp action. That's it. So the
and
bookies that take sharp action, those are the sharp books because they're priced into sharp numbers.
and I'll say like that's why people in this community know me as the person that usually hate on other people that attack like
Yeah,
we'll
openers.
have the bets like 10 hours before the show or an hour late. So 10 hours before the show, people will already bet our lines, but not people, regular people, sports better, but huge Twitter accounts that have their record tracked and everything. They'll just like post like week opening line of Trey Young 27.5 minus 110 at bet over like at FanDuel or DraftKings, and they'll like bet like to win 1.5 unit, for example. Like no one will be able to get 1.5 unit on that week opening line. That's even like maybe if you have like $20 unit, probably you can get it.
Yeah, yeah.
And also you post it on Twitter and you have like 30,000 followers, and like maybe 5 people will get it, and you'll track it like as like I have problems with that, because not only that no one can profit, no one can benefit from it, like maybe some like 1% of the people, but the second thing is you move the line for everyone else. Like if you just didn't post it for like 3 hours, maybe it will be gone, but if you post 3 hours later, probably more people can get it. And like it's crazy, like when markets get liquidity, they often uh, are slower to react to moving lines. But if it's a weak opening line, like you can have 3 people betting $50 and move the line. And,
Yeah.
and yeah, so we are us having, I don't want to brag or anything, but us having a winning record betting at this time of the day, when most of the weak lines and the lines that have edge are already moved, is a big thing. Like if you are a professional bettor, if you want to win, you need to bet earlier than this show, like, and that's it.
Yeah, I agree. You can still find good bets the other day, but like the earlier, the better for a lot of these things,
Yeah.
because I wouldn't necessarily go this far as like bettors are typically specialists, as Pips was saying. Usually sportsbooks have specialists for specific sports, but I think a lot of you would be shocked how little goes into opening lines. They just put it up at like a very soft price, low limit, and quickly, like you said, 45 seconds later, they shape it to sharp action. So
and
you guys
and,
would be
and raise the
shocked
limits.
how
Yeah.
you guys would be shocked how little they put into research opening lines. They just move very quickly off of that
Yeah, and
based on action.
like, and also this is basic knowledge, but most people that probably watching this don't know this. But so this is how it works. Like they open, like, let's say they're young 27.5 minus 110, and they are not losing. If they open it 24.5.5, they are not losing anything with it, like nothing, because 3 people will bet like $50 at that line. They'll move to 28.5, and it will it will be close to the closing line. And then they like in the opening line, they have like $50 limit. And then like 1 hour before the game, or like 3 hours before the game, when they will raise the limits, and everyone will bet like 95% of money will came at the sharper line. So they are not losing anything with this week opening lines, because they'll just open it, and then a couple of sharp people will like adjust the lines, and then they will raise the limits, and everyone will bet the sharper line. And
Yeah,
at the end, like, they are not losing anything with week openings.
yeah, 100% agree. Also, one other point for like, because Pinnacle has like minus 107 lines on each side, which is less vig, so people think you're better off there. Um, if it's lower vig most of the time, it's because they are so confident in their odds that go ahead and bet it at that
Yeah,
price. We're so confident we're
exactly.
still going to win. The bookies that take like, so a lot of the time that take like minus 117 on each side, those are the ones a lot of the time that don't really know what they're doing. And Ontario Caesars takes minus 117 on each side of like NBA and NFL lines, which is horrible. Don't bet there because it's minus 110 at outside of Ontario. But small vig sometimes isn't necessarily a good thing. Sometimes it's because they're
Yeah,
so assured of themselves. So
sure.
a lot of good insight for betting there. Hopefully you guys can absorb all of that. But these are definitely some practices. It's important to understand these things when you're betting, to understand, how your ROI is affected, how your returns are affected, and all of that. So great insight. This was a clip taken from our Pick and Roll live show, which you can catch right here on the Board YouTube channel, the NBA content division of the Hammer Betting Network, every weekday around 11:20 a.m. Eastern Time. Subscribe to the channel and drop a like to catch all the live shows or for more clips just like this.